Hello, this is Mr. Aguilar and welcome to this tutorial. So today we're going to be doing the pen part 1. So I have a couple of worksheets that are in your Illustrator files. So if you go to your flash drive, digital media, Illustrator folder, and then open up the pen tool, you'll see the AI file for you guys to work on. The directions are on there. You can actually just follow along and read, and then there's an example above. So I'm going to walk you through this, but there's a couple of things that we want to make sure we look at first. Up here, make sure that you're at Essentials Classic. So if you're not at Essentials Classic, just make sure you change that. The second thing, we're using the pen tool, which is P. I'm gonna undock that. So if you click on the pen tool and the letter P, you're going to see your drop down menu. Now, if you want to undock your menu, just go to the arrow right here and you'll have this undocked, and then you can move it around. Before we begin, let's talk about a few basics. So one thing, if you just click and release your hand from the mouse and then drag the mouse somewhere else and click again, you'll get a line. Now to get out of this line, just hit escape and you can get out of it. You could also go to your move tool, which is V. That will also get you out of it. So if I do this again, I'm just going to click, I'm going to drag here. I'm going to hold shift key to make sure I get a straight line. And again, shift is our constrain key, and I have that line. And if I want to get out of this, I can also hit the letter V, which just takes me to my move tool, and then you guys can move this around. The second thing we want to look at as far as basic instruction for the pen, if you click and drag, meaning you're not releasing the mouse. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. Okay, so I'm not releasing it. Then I release my finger and I come somewhere else, and again I'm going to click and drag, and that's how you get a curve. And again, you can escape or you can hit the letter V to get to your move tool. So that's how you get that curve. So I'll do this one more time so you guys can see it, and then I'll delete these files. So I'm going to go to the pen tool, or P. I'm going to click and drag so my finger's still on the mouse. I'm going to release. I'm going to hit click and drag. I'm going to release, and I'm going to hit click and drag. And then I'm going to release. Hit escape or V. And again, you have your curve. Okay, so that's the basics. The other thing is, if we want to switch from our move tool to our direct selection, we click A for Apple, and that gives us our direct selection. And now I can just grab a point or grab a handle and work on that. So there are a couple of things that we're going to talk about. So let me delete these real fast and then we'll get started. One, these are anchor points. Okay, so these are your points. The points that you put down are called anchor points. And if you drag on an anchor point, you're going to get a handle. And then the handles you can move to adjust the curves or change them, and we can get rid of those handles too. So I'm going to walk you through this one. Again, I'm in my pen tool. I'm going to click, okay, and I'm going to drag. I'm going to click, I'm going to drag, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag. When you're dragging, it's just like going around a clock face. So if I want a down curve, I'm going to go up the opposite direction. We'll get more into that later. Again, I'm going to go to my A as an apple, and that's going to give me my tool. And now I can grab this by the handle, and you can see I can really change it, and I can make it match this curve. Okay, so that's what you guys are going to be doing. So again, you need to know how to use the direct selection tool, which is A, and you need to know the path tool, or the path selection, which is V, and that's going to give you your black arrow. So let's delete that and go through the tutorial. A couple of things you guys can do. You can sit and watch the tutorial, or you can hit pause so I can go through the activity. You can pause the video and then you guys can go through the activity yourself. So we're going to start off with the first one. It's real easy. I'm going to click. I'm going to let go of the mouse. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click, let go of the mouse, and I'm going to come right up here. Okay. I'm going to hit escape, and that's going to release me from creating more paths. I'm now going to come over here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click, release my finger, click, release my finger. I'm going to click, release my finger, click, and then click. One thing I do notice, I have my shape tool on, or my shape fill. So I'm just going to take my fill and I'm going to remove that. So if you have your fill on, just remove it. Make sure you guys have just a layer, this, excuse me, I'm sorry, just to have the stroke. Okay, so just have the stroke activated, and that's right down there. Okay, so now that I have my line, I want to take my direct selection tool, which is A for Apple, and I get my white arrow, and I can select this extra point, and I can just drag it up. And that's all you guys are going to do. Purposely make this point somewhere else, and then just grab it and drag it and lock it into place. Okay, so don't draw that. So I'll do it again real fast so you guys can see it now that my fill selection was turned off. Again, back to pen tool, or I can just go to where I undocked it, and I'm going to click and release, click and release. I'm going to click and release, click and release, click and release, and then I'm just going to hit escape to get out of it. I'm going to go to A to my direct selection tool, and that's that white arrow, and then I'm just going to move it into place. So that's all we have to do. We're learning how to use the pen tool. Now on this one, I want to click and I want to slightly drag. So I'm going to click and just drag a little bit. Some of you guys want to do this, don't. Just click and drag it a little bit, and then I'm going to come over here, and just like the directions, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. Now you can see how that curve, hit escape, doesn't match the illustration. And this is where that white arrow comes in, and that's where these handles come in. Because now what you can do is you can move this and manipulate it until you have that curve exactly like it's seen, or shown, I'm sorry. So I'm going to come over here and we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to go back to my pen tool, going to click a point, Control Z if you miss. I'm going to click and drag just a little bit, and then I'm going to come over here and click and drag just a little bit. So I want to move that point, escape, go to my white arrow, which is A, and you might find that the Illustrator document might be clicking to the grid that you can't see, and it might not let you go directly on it, but you can move stuff around. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's grids on here. You're not going to probably see it because the notes are blocking it. So let me show you that. So if I take the graphics off, you'll see the grid. Okay. So sometimes your points want to select that. That's fine. Just move it later. And then I'm going to go back up into my student work layer. So we're just going to follow the directions so you guys can actually read. It's going to tell you everything you need to do. So this one right here, we're going to subtract a point. So first we're going to draw it. So I'm going to click, I'm going to let go, I'm going to click again, I'm going to let go, I'm going to click again, I'm going to let go, click and let go, click and let go, and I'm going to hit escape. Now if I hover over this point, you're going to see that my pen tool is going to have a negative sign on it. And that negative means delete. Okay, so this is what your final should look like. It should look just like this because I'm going to delete that point. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create straight lines. Okay, so we want to create 3 straight lines, or 3 straight points, I should say. So you have a point, and a point. Now we're going to go to our convert anchor, and that's this little greater than sign, or this triangle. And when I come over here, I can take a point that doesn't have any handles, and I can simply click and drag it, and now I'm going to get a curve. Okay, so again, with my conversion arrow, so this is anchor point tool, and you're just going to convert this from being a straight line into a curve, and you do that by clicking on it and dragging the handles, and that's all you have to do. This one down here is showing a plus sign. So if I click release, click release, click release, click release, and click release, hit escape, it's telling me to add a new point. So I'll add a new point, and you'll see a plus sign start to appear. So you'll see that plus sign appear. All I'm going to do is click on it, and then I can go to A, my direct selection tool, and you can do something like that. And you can see how that's going to look. The last one is we're going to remove a curve. So I'm going to draw a curve. So I'm going to click. I'm going to click and drag. I want a nice little curve. And then I'm going to click, and I'm going to hit escape. To get rid of this line, so let's go to A so you guys can see. And I'm going to select this point. Again, you can see how you can manipulate that with these curves. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to what it was. Now, if I go to my anchor conversion tool, which again is that little open triangle or less than symbol or greater than symbol, all I got to do is click on it. And when I click on it, it reverts back to a point with an angle, meaning there's no handles. So again, if I select this with my white arrow, you will not see any handles. If I click this one with my white arrow, you will see the handles. And that is all that you are doing today. So again, you can just watch the video and then follow along and read, or you could play the video and pause it in between each activity. So that's what I expect you guys to do today. We'll do part 2 when I come back, and we'll have another activity tomorrow.